Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and please, thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in, for coming back. I'm Stan Houston. This is Interesting Ideas, and it's a program that's designed to help you be more of what you want to be. Hey, the program for Monday, we canceled it because of the shooting, and at that time I said, don't say anything for 72 hours until we know more. Well, of course, most of the politicians and pundits didn't do that, and they've made all kinds of wild, crazy, and stupid and false allegations and commentaries. But we're still obeying the 72-hour rule, and I don't think we'll have anything more to say after the 72 hours are done. Nothing more will need to be said. Obviously, the story is gaining in its sadness and tragedy and all that comes out of wrecked and ruined lives. Deep, deep sadness. And we pray that there will be some help in some way for those people who are in deep pain and grief. Lord have mercy. Hey, you saw the subject title. It's right. I'm going to segue from one of the things I've just done, but that was the title. Yes, Mr. Houston, he said, tell me something I don't know. Now, it's a familiar story. I've told it before, but I'll put it to you again because it will help us to understand some new context about how we can better understand the world and know what to do, and perhaps have some interesting ideas that are thoughtful, insightful, and profitable, and helpful. That's the goal for this Hump Thump Wednesday, 15 to 20 minutes, no more. I'm Stan Houston. The program begins right now. And of course, remember, as you heard from the start of the program, I always begin with a classic old radio sounder. And of course, that's my favorite one in many ways. That's from the BBC, but I would love to have some of your reminders of sounders, which are ways to say, please pay attention. And in fact, what I would love to have is some of you use your artificial intelligence to design a personal sounder for me and my program. Why don't you do that? We're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and there is artificial information, intelligence. There's artificial art, and there are artificial voices, and there is artificial sound. It can all be created now. So I would love for you to design a personal new sounder, and we will name it after you, and we will use it from time to time to call for please pay attention. Hey, here's a story once again. Many, many years ago, after I'd had a major career crash, and that happens every once in a while, and if you haven't had at least one, you've certainly missed something. I don't wish it on anybody, but sometimes it can be the best of things, and sometimes it can be the worst of things, and sometimes it can be a bit of both. I'm not so sure that I have any real wisdom on that, except that I've experienced both. Hey, but I was interviewing for a position that someone had arranged for me, and it was kind of obvious that the person who was interviewing me was not necessarily happy, that he had been kind of somebody in power had said, oh, hey, this is my friend Stan Houston, you've got some positions at this company, I'd like you to interview him. And so he did. Well, I think I came dressed up, and I think I gave a good appearance, and I was at my best, as best I could be. And then all of a sudden he stopped and he said, Mr. Houston, your story's quite interesting. And he said, obviously you've got some impressive things you've done and are doing. Then he paused and simply said, Mr. Houston, tell me something I don't know. Yeah, that was the question. Tell me something I don't know. Now, if you would be hit with that interview question, what would you do? By the way, if I'm ever in charge of interviewing you, and I'm suggesting this question to lots of people today, are you prepared to give it a try? Are you prepared to give it a try? Tell me something I don't know. I think I whispered a little prayer under my breath. Oh, Lord God, give me some wisdom. And the right words came to me, and I simply said, that is an incredible question. Good for you. Let me try. And then I paused and said, lately I've been thinking about this. And I put forward an idea that I had been working on and thinking on, a little bit of a title for a program that I might do. And I just said, how's that? And he paused. And he said, very good. That's interesting. I'll have to find out more about that idea. Ha ha! Hooray! You know. And it went well, except I never got the job. And what I discovered is that one of the secretaries didn't like the tie I was wearing. I don't think that had any choice, but supposedly in the conversation afterward, that was her one objection to me. Could that have been why? I have no idea why. But it does show you what an irrational and crazy world we live in. And how you get chosen and not chosen will always remain a mystery in many ways. Hey, but here's what I would like to do for you today. Now, please remember, can I review some of the things that would be very, very helpful in working and developing some new ways of thinking? We're going to be talking about a couple things this week. First of all, we're going to be talking tomorrow about getting older. And I can ask you this question, are you getting older? Well, of course you are. And I'm learning something about getting old. And I'm enjoying now, along with reading the memoir of Paul Newman, which I told you about, I'm reading a book called Ageless Soul. Ageless Soul by Thomas More. And I'm looking forward to reading that and sharing it with you, because I want you to think about a program that we would like to produce here for older people. Not senior citizens, we don't call them that. Not elderly, we don't call them that. We can call them seasoned. I kind of like that. But the word I want to do and the word I want to use is for those of us who've been there, done that in many ways, but we still have life and energy and maybe even more wisdom, insight, and truth than we had, even though we don't have as much energy anymore. What I call the encore experience, and it's how we can live better, maybe the best years of our life, when we are living and producing our encore experience. So perhaps you'd like to think about that. Also, I want to read you some interesting stories. Are you aware, now for those of you in the Americas, which was the longest war that we got involved in? Do you know what it was? What was the longest war that we were in? Go through the history books. What was the longest one? Well, you probably got it wrong, but there's some interesting and challenging and scary and bad insights, but also some incredible things from a study of the longest war that America has ever been in. we are going to look at artificial intelligence and see if we can begin to become a little bit smarter, since everybody's playing that game these days. So that's what is coming. However, right now, on the second half of the show, I would like to share a simple, what I call the 45 principle. The 4-5 principle, and give it a framework. And you know what? It could be very, very helpful to you in having more influence and greater impact. Here we go. That's coming up. We've got 10 minutes behind us. Listen to it again. I think you'll find it helpful. And then we've got about 7 more minutes to go. And then on Wednesday, we will have thumped it. And hopefully you've learned something new. And we will be done, and wish you all the best for the rest of the week, particularly as you face turbulent. Remember, Thursday is Turbulence Day. Be ready to overcome it. Hey, I'm Stan Houston. The program is Interesting Ideas. We can help you, I believe, and that's what we'll be talking about in part 2 of Interesting Ideas. We'll be back. Okay, this is a bit of a reminder from our program yesterday, because all of you are hoping to be in leadership. I hope you should aspire, not to a leadership position. Oh my God, most of that stuff is terrible. But being not in a leadership position, but being in a leadership role or a leadership person can have great benefits and be very good for you. As I said, when you're talking with somebody, one of the things you want is to hear the stories. The Bugs Bunny, what's up, Doc? What's going on here? Stories. Then from the stories you ask questions. Then you make observations. That means without judging, you just simply note what you've observed, what you've seen, what's going on. Based on that, you may ask permission to make a suggestion, and then you may ask double permission to make a recommendation. And then you may make a triple, that's right, 3 permissions to make a challenge. May I challenge you? And then you issue the challenge, and then simply say, in effect, will you accept my challenge? And then, here it goes. 45. One of the most important questions that you can ask a person is 4 words. Tell me your story. Everybody has a story. And behind everything you do, and perhaps everything you are, there is a story. Tell me your story. Which is the story that is most you that you want to tell me? Of all the stories, tell me your story. And then after they tell their story, simply 5 words. How can I help you? How can I help you? That's a lot of what I try and do for people. Tell stories, ask questions, make a few observations, sometimes ask for a suggestion if you'd like. By the way, I'll be bold enough to say, if you're willing, I'll make a recommendation based on what I've heard and what I know and what I think. May I challenge you? And if you need help, I might be able to give you some direction, if you wish, only with your permission. But tell me your story. 4 words. How can I help you? 5 words. The 45 principle. I want you to think about that, because if you start to do that in many of your business, life, leadership conversations, things that will surprise you, maybe mystify you, maybe sometimes shock you, but it will also give you relationships and personal power, and perhaps influence, impact, and income that you never quite thought possible. The 45. Tell me your story. You can add please. How can I help you? There we go. I'm Stan Houston for a Wednesday. Some interesting ideas. I'm done, as I should be. And I'll be right back, because I'm going to pitch myself and offer to help you. I'm Stan Houston. Interesting ideas, what it takes radio. We can help you. Take care. We'll be right back. I will guarantee this: one of the things you have to do to survive not being fired or replaced by a robot is you are going to have a digital record that you can create things, that you are an originalist, that you are a creator. And the internet has to have a demonstration. Not that you're cute, and not that you're creative, but that you have created good stuff. Created good stuff. CGS. What are you doing every day to create good stuff? Well, that's where I can help you, because I'm just wild and crazy enough to do that kind of work. So please reach out to me. StanHouston@gmail.com, StanHouston@gmail.com. Have fun. Do a search on YouTube, and of all the stuff I've done out there, see what comes up, and it just might be helpful to you. But you'll find hundreds, maybe thousands of podcasts and videos, and one of them just might work for you. And in some ways, and I will die soon, I will go on. As long as there's an internet, I'll be around. Take care. We'll talk more about that maybe later, some other time. I wish you all the best today, and may the week finish well for you. Bye for now.